What's happening? Yeah, what's happening? What's that? That's it, you got it.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of What's Happening. This is the weekly web series where I fill you in on the blanks here on the YouTube Burndown channel. So, first and foremost, I'd like to thank you guys, the community. I think it was Drifter Engines was the guy that caught my backwards rod install. So, like I stated in the video, if you guys watch this week, I put the short block together, the 6.2 that's going to go in the Malibu. And I didn't, it's funny because when I look at it now, it's completely obvious. But when I had first done it, I think because there's so many different like steps and I was trying to take my time and do it, there's a big chamfer. Like, it is really easy to see when you pull the main cap off and you look at it because the bearing's pretty well offset. The flat edge goes to the other flat edge on the piston, and then the chamfers go toward the outside on the journals. So I had 4 of them wrong. So I had to literally take 4 pistons out, pull little clips, flip the rod around, and put it all back together and stuff it all back in the block. So we did all of that. So the block is hopefully good now. I haven't slid a cam in place. Maybe I'll try that this weekend, but I'm hoping just to long block the whole damn thing. So we will see. So hopefully I can slide the cam in and make sure those bearings are lined up properly. But other than that, we're doing good. I ordered a bunch of parts, although this afternoon I figured I would transfer the springs from my old heads to the new heads that are going to go on the 6.2. I've got some 241 heads. I stuck with the cathedral port stuff because that's what I have for an intake and all that fun stuff. So I didn't want to change the square port and then your intake manifold and all that. Granted, I did end up with a new intake manifold, or a different style. It's new to me, but it's the standard looking sheet metal one that a lot of people run. So we're going with that over the big Holly one that I have. So I think we're going to try that next and line that up. So as far as stuff on the Malibu is concerned, the engine should be long blocked here pretty quick. But when I went to transfer the springs, I found broken springs. I'll put a picture up now. And when I toasted the lifter, I thought that was lifter parts. And I'd seen that on one, I don't know if it was this head or maybe the other head. And it looks like the little inside spring broke on a bunch of them. So I don't know what the heck I did. Probably turned too many RPMs or who knows what to bust a bunch of those. But it made the inside spring crooked. And then it was eating the lifter valve stem seals. So I think eventually what would have happened is it would have probably worked through the valve stem seals and started smoking a bunch. And I would have just thought that I broke a ringland or something. But yeah, we caught that. So now I got to go shop. I think I'm just going to do pack 1218s. We'll keep the RPM, below 7 grand this time around. And then hopefully have some fun. But I don't want valve train issues. So we're just going to go new springs and retainers. Then I got the cam and all that fun stuff. So as far as the car is concerned, we'll put the new power plant in. I've got the 85mm turbo from BS Racing that I barely have any time on, so we haven't even got to see what that thing will do. And it's a T4 hot side. I was going to do a T4 and then upgrade to a T6, but we'll run the T4 out and see how much power it makes. And if we need to upgrade or figure stuff out at some point, we will. But at this point, I think that that's going to do just fine power-wise for what I'm really kind of looking for. And then, so I have to do... I'm going to revamp the hot side, I think, a little bit. I was in a little bit of a hurry because I want to get back to the track before. So I don't know if I'm going to change placement of the turbo or what. We'll kind of put the engine in and look at that. But I have an item coming. I will share with you guys when it shows up. So we're actually going to throw an exhaust on the car. Because if I have to drive this thing 1,000 miles plus, I don't want to listen to it. And, I mean, I had busted-ass valve train assembly in this thing. And I was trying to make passes, and it was laying over. And I couldn't figure out what it was. That's how loud the car physically is. And I have other buddies and they have turbo cars and they don't have exhaust, but I don't know what it is with my car. It was always like the loudest car in the bunch. And we're gonna try to change that so I don't blow my eardrums out trying to drive the thing around. Plus, it'll make it more user friendly. I can fire it up, let it warm up, and I want to start using it, driving it around, and really making sure the road portion, shakedown portion is really where it's at, because not having to rely on it and just throwing it on a trailer and taking it to the track and beating on it's not a big deal, but I could just leave it in its configuration and leave it loud and all that. But doing Rocky Mountain Race Week, which is my goal, I'd like to try to keep my sanity. I'm going to put a lot of miles down. My buddy John, I have him tapped already to go with me on the road trip. I'd like to probably talk to the guy and enjoy the thing and not just get beat to crap with the exhaust note. So we're going to do that. So I'll revamp the hot side, the full hot side, probably full exhaust. We're going to do cold side revamp. I've got an intercooler, so we're just going to run an air-to-air this time. It's a 4-inch core, 3-inch in, 3-inch out. I don't know if we're going to change any of that stuff. I might do the 3-inch in and then a 4 out to the throttle body, but I don't know. We'll see how crazy I get with that. And then fuel system. I've got all the fuel parts I showed you guys, so we're going to update that. We're going to do 2 550 drop-ins in the fuel cell, so that should get rid of my fueling problems and my filtering problems, hopefully. And then we're going to run it up, and I'm going to wire it to the back and do it properly with fuel feed. That way we have all the fuel I could possibly ever need with the power that we're going to make. So we'll do that. So we got hot side, cold side, fuel. And then last but not least, I think wiring needs to be addressed. I have the original fuse block in the car, which isn't bad. It's fine, and the key and all that stuff works, but my buddy Joe was trying to talk me out of it, and I saw like some fancy touchscreen I posted on Sloppy Public today. But he talked me out of that one because he's like, dude, that's more crap, and then you're relying on the screen, and it has a little program in it, and he was like, those things are cheap. It's like some cheap touchscreen tablet, and he's like, if you ever mess with a cheap one, they're just crap, and then it's more things. I was like, okay. Well, he wanted to go straight like toggle switch old school with like the little red flip deals, and I'm like, bro, I'm not doing that. Like, at least, you know, I showed him the ARC panel, and even though he's really not for it because he's just like a DIY hardcore guy, I said, dude, I don't want to make the box and the flip panel and hang it on the roll bar. Like, that's way too much time. So I think I'm going to go ARC. I'm going to do the new one with like the stop button on it, so you can just turn the whole damn system off. And then we'll do that. So I'll probably rewire majority of the car. Like, I wired from the back, like the big boy wires are in the car. Those are all fine. Alternator, grounds, powers. When I moved the battery, I did a good job on that. So we'll just rip out the fuse block that's in there and then just wire up the stuff to like a nice ARC panel. So I'll have the overhead functionality, all that. I'd like to do some lighting in the car because if I get stuck on the side of the road for whatever reason, I'd like to be able to pop the trunk and have that turn on. I'd like to maybe put something, I guess the hood's lift off, but maybe I could put some sort of lighting. I guess I could just do, yeah, because flashlights aren't going to stick to the fenders because they're plastic now. So maybe some engine bay lighting. We'll see how it goes, but I'd like to, or maybe something like underneath the rear. That'd be kind of cool. If you had to make like an adjustment or shocks or crawl under the car, he's like, look, you could just flip the light on and see under your car to see if it's junk instead of getting flashlights out. So I don't want to get too carried away with any of that stuff, but I'd like to do some of those things. I want to make it just function, but I want to try to keep it simple. So if I have an issue, it's something I can just address really fast. So those are the main things I think that I would like to do. And then other than that, I've got the new rear wheels. Tire-wise, I really want to do a 275. I might try to stuff one on there because I think that would just be the biggest tire that I would need. The 85s are cool, and I got some new 85 slicks that I've never even tried or put on. So I'm still debating. I do have a 10-inch rim for the rear, so I think I could probably try the 10-inch rear wheel just to see if that kind of fits up in the hole and how we look, and then maybe go sizing from there. So also the front control arm bushings are toast. The freaking master cylinder for the brakes, it works, but it's always been really shoddy. So I think I should probably get at least a new master cylinder. There's a spot in the pedal like you'd push it and then it would kind of give away and then it would get hard again. So that's probably not good when you're going, you know, quickly at speed. And if I'm putting any sort of significant road time on it, I need to be mindful of the other people on the road as well. Just because I drive a pile and I, you know, risk my safety, so to speak, driving that thing around, I don't want to risk anybody else's safety. So if I'm on the road, I need to have the safest car I can bring to the table, at least, you know, from my standpoint. So that is it. So we got a ways to go, guys. I know the thing, it seems like, oh, I'll just drop the motor in and you'll be rock and roll. But unfortunately, there's a few other things to address. And I could just drop the motor in and scab it all together and go. But knowing me, just like everybody else, once you start using it, I'm not going to want to break it down and start doing more stuff to it. And then I'm going to try to just, like I said, not get too involved, do my due diligence, and then get through it, because I really want to get it back on the track. I really need to get back on the Winnebago. If life opens back up, they're opening California up tentatively back to where it was on Friday with the tier system or whatever that is. But I know they're doing vaccines and stuff, so I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that life kind of gets a little more normal toward race season. So that's pretty much it. So any comments, concerns, thanks for looking out, guys, watching the video, pointing out the stuff that I did wrong. And like I said, there's no shame in my game, and I share stuff on here because I'm still learning. I'll let you guys know. If I think I have a handle on something, I'll let you know as well. Like bodywork, question sheet metal, there's a lot of stuff that I'm actually well versed in. But putting an LS bottom end motor, or the bottom end to an LS motor together, is not something that I do all the time. But now that I've done one, I feel more comfortable doing it. So in the future, I really don't want to build motors all the time. I just want to go get some seat time. So that's about it. If you guys have questions, comments, concerns, let me know. I'm going to try to hopefully long block the thing this weekend is kind of the goal. It's supposed to rain. We'll see how we go. But I got a couple pieces and parts to paint up. I got the front bumper to put on, so stuff like that. But I got parts in the mail for that. Probably going to get the ARC panel ordered up here soon, and then we'll start chipping away. I'm just going to make a list of stuff. So whatever I have in front of me to work on is what we're going to work on next. So we'll get through this stuff, and then if I have, I think the fuel system stuff is going to be after that, and we'll go from there. Then we'll plug the motor in, and then I can do, cold side, hot side, and wire the car, and then hopefully have some fun, man. It's way too much work building these things. You guys, till next time, I'm out.